So, hey everyone, thanks so much for joining. My name is Sean Akeem, and usually we do New Life Mastery every 2 weeks. Right now, we're talking about the Hermetic principles and working on the fourth video, which is the law of polarity. But before I post that video, I thought it would be fun to get my good friend. I've known her for 10 years. Her name is Catherine Ramdeen. We met at a group that we were doing together. I believe it was A Course in Miracles. Catherine and I just clicked, and we've been friends ever since. And Catherine's helped me through a lot of tough times in my life. The information that she was giving me was because of her God-given intuitive powers that she has. Catherine is an unbelievable medium, and she's going to talk to us today about mediumship and how we can use it in our everyday lives. It's not something that's very specific to one person. It's something that many of us have access to and many of us can use on a daily basis. And we're going to talk about just how the messages that we get on a daily basis do have significance, and they are relevant, and they are used to help guide us in the right direction for what's best for us. So I want to introduce everyone to Catherine Ramdeen. Catherine, how are you tonight?
I'm well, thank you. How are you all? I hope you're all well.
Why don't you tell us about your journey quickly? I've known you for 10 years, like I said earlier, and those 10 years I've watched you grow. I've watched you beg me to come join mediumship. You're like, oh, you'd be so good at it. And I finally did. I finally
It
came
is
and
really good.
I did like a year of it, I think. And wow, didn't know I could do it. And I did do it. And that's kind of like your core message there is that everyone has access to this ability to tune in and receive information, correct?
Yes, yes. So I've been teaching mediumship classes now for the past, I think, 5 years. And there's so much that I've learned just in that journey alone. But I started off with hypnosis. I always knew there was more to life than just this existence that we live. From the time I was 20, I just had a lot to heal from, and my healing journey took me to spirituality. And then from spirituality, it took me into hypnosis. And then from hypnosis, when you start to clear your issues, when you start to work with your heavy things, your abilities start to open up and you naturally come into things. Um, we were lucky, I think, because we started our journey fairly young. What's happening in the timeline right now is that people are being pulled into their abilities, and it can be really scary to navigate, right? And I do a lot of helping with that. Mediumship is the bridge between, let's say, the etheric and the non etheric. We have subtle energies that are around us. Each of us carries similar subtle energies. It's that energy that we're reading when someone walks into a room and you're
Mm.
just like, oh, I'm not going to talk to that person. Or, I really want to go see that person. You're reading those subtle energies. And then when you acclimatize yourself through meditation to be aware of more of those subtle energies around you, um, things really start to open up. We can only see. I wish that I knew how many dimensions it was that we live in simultaneous, multi-dimensional reality, right? And being able to see past the current one is mediumship. So we are all mediums and we all have those capabilities. And I think that even in humanity, like as a civilization, it's one of those things that we have decided not to use. And so it becomes latent, but it's never gone.
So it's safe to say that being a medium is not the same as being a psychic.
A medium is one that is speaking to another being. Psychic would be more of your sort of mentalist perceptions. You're reading a person's energy. You're reading their mood right now. Psychics can read moods. They can read, then they'll tell people all about their personality. And, people will think, wow, they're really good. Not really. They can just read your energy very well.
So we're
You know,
not hating on psychics. Let's just be clear.
we're not hating on, no, no, we're not hating on psychics. Everybody is psychic. Psychics are awesome.
Yeah.
But mediums take it a step further. A psychic can be a little superficial, and mediumship brings messages from another energy. To be a good medium, you have to align yourself with a higher frequency to be able to receive messages. So just like you talked about in your Hermetic principles, I think it was the second one, you talked about how when you move your frequency, you
Yeah.
align yourself with new experiences. Well, it happens in the etheric as well. So when you wake up and you're in a great mood, you're aligned with, okay, everything's going to be great. It could be raining, it could be snowing, it could be sleet, it could be one of these schizophrenic Canadian weather days. No matter what, you're good. You're like, oh, look at that, it's raining now. There's,
Right.
there's some snow, whereas someone in a different frequency would perceive that differently. And then energies will search you out because you're like a magnet with your frequency.
And a lot of it too is just trusting you, because I remember taking your class and I would get these messages and I'd be like, this doesn't make any sense. And you were like, just trust it, just trust it. And then when I actually would give the message and there was something so minute, like the most, I remember there was one message about Pinocchio that I was giving someone. And the woman I was giving the message to, she's like, oh yeah, we used to call him because he was always lying. We'd call him Pinocchio. And I didn't want to give that message because it just didn't make any sense to me. So I think also too, a big part of it is just trusting your natural intuition, right? Like that natural intuition, that gut feeling is in some sense mediumship, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that. Honestly, I struggled with insecurity for a lot of my life. And learning mediumship taught me to trust myself. It taught me to trust my thoughts. It taught me to trust that there's guidance around me. It increases your self confidence. It increases your confidence in the world around you and how you affect the world around you. It diminishes fear massively because now you trust yourself. There's something to be said with, those that just trusting yourself alone can create so many miracles in your life, you know. Whereas you gave your power away, you tend not to do that anymore. When you're learning to trust yourself, when you're learning to trust what you see, and trust your own guidance because you'll not trust it one day, you'll deny it one day. Say you get a little voice in your head that says, don't take that road, don't take the 401 today, take, Bailey or whatever. And you don't do it, and then you get on the 401 and it's 3 hours that you're stuck, right?
Right.
Damn it. you know,
Right.
that's your intuition, right? Like that's the subtle energies coming through.
When you start to tap into those subtle energies and you start to trust those energies, you show up to the world differently too. We're always given kind of messages throughout the day. I know for me, and this is going to seem odd, and you know this, but my viewers don't know it, that I every day I see the number 33. And like and without fail, I will see the number 33. And I didn't know why I was seeing this number. And then, I did a little bit of research on my life number. My actual life number is 30/3. That's from a book called The Life You Were Born to Live by Dan Millman. I consider that a message coming from, like you said before, just another dimension, another place. And that for me, at least, is, everything's, don't worry, everything's okay. You worry too much. Like you're on the right path. That's how I take it, whether it's right or wrong. Either way, if it's right or wrong, it does make me feel better. And who cares if it's right or wrong? I feel better about it, right?
Raising your frequency, absolutely.
Yeah, it raises your frequency, right? Is it only through numerology or is it other types of ways we can get these messages that maybe if we start tuning in a bit more, we'll start to notice them a bit more?
So messages will come from everywhere. You're leaving signs for yourself everywhere. You miss no opportunity to leave signs for yourself. And this is what we're doing, right? Signs can come through dimes, they can be feathers, they can be animals, they can be birds. There was one time, a really hard time in my life, where I was making a decision to leave a marriage, right? And I kept seeing blue jays everywhere I went, and they were just screaming at me, everywhere I went, these blue jays were. And I looked up, what is the spiritual meaning, just on Google, what is the spiritual meaning of blue jays? And they said, "You're not speaking your truth. You need to speak your
Ah,
truth."
wow.
So I finally spoke my truth and I stopped seeing blue jays. You
Okay.
know, um, Cardinals are well known for being a sign from the other side that loved ones are there with you, supporting you, and helping you. They can come through music. They can come through music. A book opens to a page, it falls out on that page. There's angel numbers. You can look up the angelic meaning of what numbers are. There's the numerology that you can look up that will show you direction as well. There's just a myriad of ways that spirit can talk to you, that the etheric can talk to you, your higher self. It's constantly talking to you. As a spiritualist, I truly believe that we are connected to our higher selves and the all that is, right? Our oversoul and the all that is. And we are constantly helping ourselves stay in alignment with our path.
Yeah, and I think that's such a great message too for people who might feel alone. Like you're never alone. I remember one time I was in bed and I said to myself, "I'm glad I have me." And as soon as I said that, I said, "Well, God, I'm never alone because I have myself."
Yeah.
These messages are coming to us because we are so loved.
Yeah.
We are so loved, and whoever they are, they want to help us. They want to help us. They want us to stay on the right path. They want us to help. They want to help us learn our lessons. Um, I did a video years ago on programming the universe. I want to kind of get your 2 cents on it. And what I was saying was that we program the universe to give us signs that are relevant to us. So for me, I've always been big on numbers. I remember the first time I started seeing 1111, I think it was like in 2008, 2007, and it was happening every single day. And I'm sure viewers know the 1111 phenomenon. And then once I did some research on it, I was kind of blown away. But because I paid attention to it, because I started believing in it, I started seeing it a lot more. And then, of course, like you were mentioning earlier, the angel numbers, I started seeing the angel numbers a lot more. And then I would actually ask you sometimes, what does this mean? What does that mean? I think it was Doreen Virtue was
Yes.
one of
At the
she's
time,
big,
yeah.
yeah, that does the angel numbers. And once we find something that's relevant to us and we say, okay, that's a message I'm getting right now, that's almost like us programming the universe to say, every time I see that, this is what it means. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
When we decide to incarnate on this earth, when we are born with a guide, like our what we call our gatekeeper, our doorkeeper, who helps. Because we're not cognizant necessarily of the etheric world, your doorkeeper is there to help you navigate that etheric world. Every single person has a doorkeeper, has a spirit guide, has a guardian angel, and they're always online, around, and behind us in every situation, right? So you truly, if you actually closed your eyes and could perceive the amount of help that you have, you would never feel alone. You would almost feel a little claustrophobic. Like there's so many. And then as you take on new things, like if you decide you want to work with mediumship, you'll have a mediumship guide. You'll have, I don't know if you like to do nails, you'll have a guide that is creative that holds all of that information. Um, when we converse with them if we want more of their influence in our lives, um, all you have to do is ask, because they are governed by free will. So if we want more of their influence in our lives, we have to ask. You were talking about 111. It is a lot about trusting what you receive, not allowing your insecurities, your, I'll call it an ego then, your false sense of what you think this predictable reality is going to bring you. Once you circumvent that and start to listen to the subtle energies that are pushing you in the direction of your happiness, then those numbers, those signs, those feathers, those rocks, you know, um the diversion that you had to take so your car didn't get in an accident, you start to trust all of these things. When something interrupts me in life, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt, that I'm late for a reason. That it's everything is happening for a reason, and everything at every moment, every point in time is perfect. And when you can rest in that knowledge, it takes a lot of our fears away. And when your fears are gone, you can actually think clearly.
And I feel like there is a lot of fear around mediumship. I know when I told certain people in my life that I was, you know, doing it, they were scared.
Yeah.
They were actually scared. And I said, there's nothing to be afraid of. We're accessing this stuff anyways. It's better to control it, and get the right messages than get the wrong messages and go down a path
Absolutely.
maybe we don't want to go down or we shouldn't be going down, right?
People get stuck in their dogma, and they speak against mediums. They call us false prophets. On one hand, they say that we're false prophets, and on the other hand, they say that the truth will be revealed. Well, how do you think the truth's going to be revealed?
Right.
Right?
Right.
It's not going to be someone else telling you. It's going to be a knowing in your heart. It's going to be a feeling of being connected. Like, I have never been more spiritually driven, I think, in my life. I've never been more peaceful in my life. And that is because of mediumship. It is because of my experiences in meditation. It is because I have been told that the way to heal a problem is to forgive people. Um, you will find that when something truly resonates with your heart, that is true for you.
And even just listening to you speak, like listen to the words you're using. We're talking about forgiveness. What is it? What could possibly be fearful about forgiveness? We're talking about things that resonate with your heart. What could possibly be bad about things that resonate with your heart? And even when I was taking your class, we had a very specific rule. One of them being we do not give negative information, right? What could possibly be bad or fearful about an experience where you're giving the best information possible, the most positive information possible. You're speaking from your heart, and your main intention is the betterment of that person that you're talking to help them navigate things that they may not be able to navigate on their own, or they just need someone to kind of give them a quick little, oh, aha, that's what I need to do. Um, that for me was the driving force for me to get involved in it because I didn't see anything negative about it at all. And I think that that's something that the viewer should know is that it does come from a place of love and again when you talk about forgiveness, my goodness, isn't that something that we all could benefit from a little bit, like
It's not a small journey. It's not a small journey. It's not something that's sort of for the lighthearted, depending on the reason you want to go in and do it. We channel Holy Spirit. So that higher version of you that is communicating to you, your connection to divine is is what I call Holy Spirit, right? That bridge to you and God, that are all the same thing. Spirit guardians can be versions of yourself coming back from the future with the knowledge from whatever dimension to help you heal it. They actually, well, that piece is in the Sophia Code too, and they talk about how Jesus would bend the time, bend the dimensions to bring back the healing to people, and that's how they were cured.
Wow.
So when you're in contact with your spirit guides are versions of yourself who have transcended those lessons and come back to you in this time when called to help you deal with your problems in the perfect way for you. And what a thought, right? Like, how powerful is that, even? That a version of me, a healed version of me that loves me, understands me, accepts me, knows my parameters, all of that is coming back now to answer my questions. And those are our thoughts. They talk to us through our thoughts and we just dismiss them. So when you learn to quiet your mind, those thoughts can get louder and your own guidance can propel you forward into success and a life of joy that you deserve. There's an exercise that I was reading about just recently. Write a question on a pillow. Not on a pillow. Write a question on a paper and put it under your pillow. And go asking. When you go to sleep, spirit guides, whether you exist or not, I want the answer to this question. And then go to sleep and pay attention to your dreams the next morning. Pay attention to how you think about that same problem. You're going to think about it from another level, not the same level that caused it. You're going to be upgraded, frequency, achieved up more to be able to understand it from a better vantage point. And that's you coming back to answer you.
I always tell people too that any thought that comes to you that uplifts you is a thought that is going to be helpful for you. Any thought that comes to you that makes you feel less than is not coming from the right place, and it therefore is not doing you any good. The key thing we're taking away from all of this is that you don't have to be this special person to do it. We are all here. There's 8 billion of us on this planet. There's a reason why. And each one of us has the ability to tap into that information. Each one of us has the ability to use that information to make our lives better, to do what's best for our particular journey. And it's not relegated just to a few souls on this planet. We all can do it. Um,
Absolutely.
and we should all look into it because it does make your life a whole lot better and a whole lot easier to navigate.
It aligns you with your sense of purpose. It aligns you with your sense of, joy. And if you're off of your path, mediumship will bring you back on really quickly. And
Ex-
you'll experience a level of joy and trust and connection, not just with people, but divine in so many aspects of your life. It is an incredible journey.
Thanks for doing this. And I think definitely we'll do a lot more of these in the future.
I look forward to it.
Awesome. So
Okay.
everyone, stick around. I will put Catherine's information on the screen and you can get in touch with her. You can get a personal reading from her. You can also join her church and come check it out.
We stream our services on YouTube. So if you look up our YouTube page is Divine Light Spirituals Church. Our service consists of spiritual healing, so hands-on spiritual healing. And then we have an inspirational talk that is a different person every week. And then a mediumship just demonstration. So you can take a look at that and feel the power of it yourself.
All right. Thanks so much, Catherine. Love you so
All right.
much.
Thank
Have an
you.
amazing evening and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.